Today, the Shade Room is a media empire and is considered one of the most influential social media platforms and sites.
That's right, because the site provides news and entertainment updates to more than 28 million followers. And CBS News correspondent Jerika Duncan sat down with the platform's founder, Angie Wandu, to discuss her journey building the Shade Room and its representations of Black culture. Among the topics, the blog's rise, which includes some really spicy headlines and stories.
What was your first viral post?
See, in the beginning, we started off real salacious. I think it was T.I. cheating on Tiny on Mother's Day.
Was there ever a moment, even back then, that you cringed and thought, ooh, I don't know if I should post this?
I'm gonna be honest with you, no. I was 23, I was just out of college, I was messing myself. I just was in a different mind space. To me, I didn't see anything wrong with it. The people loved it.
Do you have a post that you regret, that you go, ooh, maybe we shouldn't have done that?
Well, let's start with the ones where I got sued over. Let's start there.
We have CBS News' own correspondent, Jerika Duncan, here to discuss it with us all.
Hey there, JD.
Hey,
Yes,
how
great to
are
see
you?
you.
It's so
Here to
good
give you
see
the tea on the shade.
Spill it.
The tea on the shade, I love that. Okay, for people who are uninitiated.
Right.
Tell us about the Shade Room, how it got its name.
So it's 2014, as she said. She was 23 years old when she started this. I know. She's 32 now. And when you think about the vernacular back then, shade was a big word at that time. And she just thought it would be cool to use that to describe some of the things that she felt celebrities were doing that was shady. You had, well, Slim Shady came out well before 2014. Right. But the word was appropriate, she felt. And she says it sort of kind of made sense without knowing how big this thing was going to be. So we talked about that. I want you guys to take a listen to what she had to say more about it. But define shade for people who don't know what it is, or it might mean something different to different people. What is shade?
Shade is typically, how do I put this in terms? It's like a slight, you know what I mean? Like usually it's seen as a slight or, an insult. But I think
with a side of truth, though.
With a side of truth, which is why the name developed into itself, because after creating the brand and seeing the community and giving them a space to be brutally honest and share their opinions, I've realized that it's the Shade Room because people always think they misconstrue the truth as shade. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's hard to hear the truth, you know what I mean? And it can be misconstrued as shade. So it's like, okay, all right, we're just gonna own it. It's the Shade Room.
Own it.
Angie, yeah, it can be hard to tell the truth.
Yeah.
You know, she's also faced some criticism for the types of stories she posts
for sure.
and for how some people say she reflects or represents Black culture. But talk to me about her reaction to that and her hesitancy to even change how she lives her own life despite the success in the spotlight.
Absolutely. I think when you imagine your life, and even I think all of us can think back to a time where we weren't ready to make those next bold moves because we weren't sure of ourselves. And what she talked about, what you're about to hear, is her say, like, I definitely realized I had the money and the means to leave where she was living at that time as a result of some of this early success, but she stayed much longer than she needed to out of fear. Take a listen. You stayed in a building that had roaches longer than you say you needed to. Why?
Because I was afraid that everything that I had would crumble. I was building on Instagram. So I'm like, Mark Zuckerberg could just, I don't know if he owned Instagram at that time, but whoever would own Instagram at that time could just, delete me. So it was scary to me to build and depend on that. And plus I hadn't had better than that, so I was just scared. I had the same Kia, car that I was driving, and I just, it wasn't until my sister literally got me kicked out of the apartment.
Where does that drive come from?
I actually don't know. I really can't point. I mean, I could say it comes from my extended family. They always, I'm Nigerian, so there's always been an expectation of like excellence, even though that contrasted with being in the foster care system where I was always seen as a potential failure.
Wow, it looked like you stumped her there
Yeah.
with that question, Jerika, and you could see how she was thinking about it and talking about the pursuit of excellence. And it's surprising to me to hear that she came out of the foster care system.
That's right. I mean, and some of the other things that you will learn in this piece is this is a woman who lost her mom at 6 years old. Her father killed her mother. And as a result, she and her siblings were separated. So she's going home to home. She even told me now, even as she's in the process of moving to another beautiful home, 6-bedroom home, from another really nice home, that she never ever felt settled because she was so used to moving from place to place. But we're definitely going to address the controversy, the lawsuits, how that shaped her opinion and thoughts on what she should and should not post. And there are, still people who will look at the shade room and go, I don't really deal with the shade room. I know people that we were trying to interview that were like, no, I'm good. But she also discusses the good parts of it, the philanthropy, which she doesn't talk about, the Black joy and excellence that she does celebrate, whether it's relationships or people graduating from college or being accepted into medical school and things like that. So we touch on all of it. But as you can see, she's very laid back, easy to talk to, and appears to be honest in terms of how conflicted she can be about what this represents. And
Well,
we asked her at the end, what does it represent? So you got to tune in to find out what she said.
I was going to say, you really got her to open up well. We know Ed Gordon will be on this episode as well. BET legend Nichelle Turner has some solid interviews. And let's congratulate Jerika Duncan, who Variety magazine named one of the most influential women in media in New York for the past year.
Thank you.
JD, always great to see you.
Thank you so much.
And we want everyone to watch.
Thank you.